Did you know that nearly half of all women over 50 have less than 100,000 saved for retirement? If that statistic makes you feel a little panicked, don't worry, you're not alone. Studies show that only about 30% of women feel confident in their ability to make sound financial decisions. Welcome to Dollars and Dreams, the podcast designed to empower you to take control of your personal and business finance. You know, the very thought of money and finance can often send chills down your spine and stir up fear of the unknown. But let's change that narrative together. Through this podcast, my goal is to not only to provide you with useful information, but also to inspire and motivate you to take action towards your own financial goals. Let's rewrite your money story together. Happy Thursday and welcome to Dollars and Dreams. In today's podcast, I'm going to talk about something that I hear quite often with particularly women that I work with is, have I left it too late? Have I missed the boat in being able to retire and live comfortably? Or it's too late for me to start adding more money to superannuation because I've only got a few years left to work. I even get it with some people when we start talking about home ownership where they go, it's too late for me. I'm in my 30s and I'm never going to have a house. I've rented all the time. I've wasted all that money. And now I realize I do want to own a house. Have I left it too late? Let's start with the house thing to start off with. The average age of people now buying a house is 36. Just listen to that again. The average age of somebody buying a house for the first time is 36. So if you're in your mid-30s and you think you've missed the boat, you definitely haven't. I've also had people in their 40s and 50s that have, they just spent their life traveling the world, moving from location to location, didn't want to set down roots. But now they're getting closer to retirement. They realize they don't want to continue renting in retirement, and they find a way even in their 50s to buy their first house. I guess the advantage when you buy a house in your 50s is that you don't need the big backyard with the swimming pool because you're not going to have small kids that need space. So quite often people, when they're buying their first home after renting all of those years, they will buy a smaller house because most people downsize at some point. These people are buying their first house and they don't need all that space. So let's debunk the myth that it's too late. It's not too late for anything. Even if you've only got a few years left for working, building something is better than building nothing. And adding to your superannuation or starting to buy shares when you only have a few years left to work means that you will still have something better and bigger in retirement to support you. And it can be that, there's lots of people that start again anyway. So don't ever think that it is too late. And it's an interesting fact is that up to 90% of women will be solely responsible for their finances at some point in their lives. And that's generally because women in their 20s and 30s are definitely more financially independent than what, us 50-year-olds were when we were in our 20s. There's also at the other end of the scale that women have, on average, a longer life expectancy than men. So we will live longer. There will be probably a point for most of us women that our partners will pass away and we need to look after our own finances. So it is important for everybody, but women in particular, to build on their financial literacy skills, work out how to do things and build a life in retirement. Men retire with so much more in their superannuation than women do. Men retire more financially secure than most women do. And men are more likely to live off their own savings than Centrelink benefits. So it is important that women start to build their financial knowledge, build how they can improve the situation they're in and get control of their money. I started my program, Got Money Honey, a few years ago, when I had lots of my clients coming into our financial services practice here in Newcastle, and they were always confused about, how do I pay down my debt? I don't understand how my superannuation works. I'm scared of investing in shares. I don't even know how to budget. Don't even know if I'm going to have enough to retirement. And these were questions that were regularly thrown at me. It wasn't just a one-off type thing. It was so regular that I just thought, how can this happen? Like, where's our schooling system let us down, that we know how Picasso is, we know about all of the great poets and, the novelists, and we do art and we do all of these things. But the one thing that we need in our life is financial literacy, because it doesn't matter where you are or what you do in life. Financial literacy is part of our everyday life. Knowing how to not go into debt, knowing how to pay off debt as quickly as we can, knowing how to budget so that we get control of our money, knowing how to build a life ready for retirement, knowing how to get a home loan. These are all financial literacy skills, and our schooling system let us down. So it is up to us as individuals to find a way to educate ourselves. And even if you think you are pretty sure you know what you're doing, sometimes it's nice to get another perspective. And this is what led me to create my digital platform, Got Money Honey, inside my website, jenrichardson.co. I wanted to be able to educate people, and people want to be educated on financial literacy. But so many of them actually just goes, I don't know where to start. I don't know if that person teaching me is a sham, or am I going to learn anything from that? Sometimes any of those training courses can be too stretched for your knowledge. Sometimes they can be too basic for your knowledge. So I created Got Money Honey to try and teach women in particular, to give them that safe space where they can learn how to save, how to pay down their debt, how to take control of their money mindset, and how to have that discussion with their partners about how they feel about money. Money has become a taboo subject that it shouldn't be. And if you're concerned that you may have left it too late, talk to your partner. Talk to family and friends to find out how they're saving, but educate yourself through people like me so that you can get control of your own financial situation. And it is really important as a person, let alone as a woman, that you can do that. So the first thing I want you to do is to remove that real block that we have, that it's too late for me. I've missed the boat. It's no point worrying about it now. It won't make an impact. Any small steps are still steps in the right direction. You need to look at your budgeting, of course. You need to look at your short-term and your long-term goals, and you need to be working to achieving those goals so that you build a better life for yourself. So building an emergency fund is obviously one of the first things that we do. Here at Got Money Honey, we call that an OMG account, but it is important that you do that so that you have that safety net should something happen. An emergency fund is there to cover you. It'll be your plan B if expenses come up that you weren't expecting, if life throws a curveball at you, or let's say you lose a partner and you need to try to work out where you are. That's what your OMG or emergency fund is there for. You also need to keep working on your long-term savings because, as I said, it doesn't matter how small it is, something is better than nothing. And baby steps is what gives you the encouragement and the ability to keep working and to achieve what you want to achieve. So I guess what I'm saying there is set realistic goals and set achievable goals. I don't want you saying, I've got 4 years till retirement and I want to build my super by 500,000. If you want to build your super by 500,000, you probably need more than 4 years. That doesn't mean that putting an extra 20 or 30 in that 4 years into your super is not a great idea. As I said, anything is better than nothing. So start by trying to find savings of $50 a week. Put that into your superannuation. The magic power of compounding interest will do wonders for your investment in super or outside of super. If you're not the person that wants to buy shares, or you'll find it confusing, or you're not confident, that's okay. Put your money into your superannuation fund. The managers inside your superannuation fund will invest it for you. It is important to remember, though, that any money you put into your superannuation fund, you cannot get out until you are either 60 and move to a transition to retirement, or until you reach retirement. So if you're 60 and you quit your job, you can get your pension. If you're 65, you can keep working and get a pension out of your super. So anything you put into superannuation, you need to be very clear that it is locked there until you reach retirement age or meet what we call a condition of release. By making it $50 a week, it's small, it's something that is achievable, it's something that you can deal with. It will build the confidence that you can do bigger if you can afford it. It will give you the confidence to think of different strategies to build your superannuation. The other thing that we always say to everybody is never leave it to the last minute. The sooner you can start, the better. And there's a great little saying, and I don't know who it is, so whoever it is, I give credit to, but it's a saying that somebody is sitting under the shade of a tree because somebody thought to plant a tree many years ago. That's what you need to do. So for all those 20s and 30-year-olds out there, start putting small amounts away now. Small amounts are much easier to deal with than larger amounts. When you're looking for large amounts, it impacts your day-to-day living. So by putting, say, $20 or $30 a week away into either a share portfolio, an investment plan, or into superannuation, you need to be doing something. So for the ones that are in their 40s, it's not too late. Jump in, do something. The ladies in their 50s, as I said, kids might have left home. So all of a sudden your living costs have gone down. You might have paid off your home loan or moved to a smaller house that you're renting, so rent is cheaper. Just start looking at putting the small steps away. Be encouraged by what you see achieving in your growth, in your investments or your superannuation. Talk to somebody in your superannuation fund or seek advice from a financial planner if you need to, because tweaking even your investment strategy with your superannuation from a more conservative to a slightly higher growth portfolio can make a huge difference. So just briefly on there, risk profile is your tolerance to risk. So the risk of not getting your return each year that is expected, not the risk of losing your money. So if you're a conservative investor, you will have it more invested in cash. If you're comfortable with the share market and growth assets like property, you'll be invested more in a growth strategy. In the middle is what we call balanced. So depending on what your superannuation is invested in, and some superannuation funds will change your investment structure based on your age and move you closer to cash the closer you get to retirement. So with that, what you need to do is look at, is that investment strategy how I want to be? Now, of course, if you're really comfortable with shares and you're getting closer to retirement, you should be in a more of a growth strategy, even though your super fund might have deemed you to be in a conservative investment strategy. So certainly look at those things. Look at your costs that you have, because quite often when we get into our older years, our kids have left, we've got more time to go out, have lunch with girlfriends, buy new clothes. Consider your budget so that you are really spending money that is important to you, not just, watering it down. So a budget is really important in building your growth. And I know you will hear me through all of my podcasts talking about putting a budget in place, knowing what your growth is, having your bank account structure set up to take control of your money. And that's important because stress can be a thing that wrecks our relationships. It can be a thing that keeps us awake at night and can have an impact on our health and longevity. So it is important that you understand how to take control of your debt, how to set up your banking structure and your budget so that you don't fall into the buy now, pay later strategies, so that you don't waste money, and so that you can put a growth plan in place for yourself. So my things that I want you to take away from this is there is no such thing as it's too late for me. Please don't fall into the trap. It is a mindset that you need to overcome so that you are comfortable in taking control of your money and your financial future, no matter how long that future is away. It's also important, of course, to look at, if you're not going to have the retirement that you want, to reconsider what retirement looks like for you. I don't want you to be deflated that I've got 5 or 6 years and I really don't have anything. We have a wonderful social security system here in Australia that will support you, but you can still do things to support yourself. That may unfortunately mean that you might have to keep working longer than you wanted. You might have to do some part-time work in retirement. You might even find a side hustle. Lots of people, when they don't have that commitment to work on a day-to-day basis, all of a sudden find a hobby that they love and turn it into what we call a side hustle. Sometimes that can be enough just to top up where you want to be. It's also important to consider doing some sort of investments, whether that be a low-cost index fund, investing more into your superannuation, or looking at diversified portfolios that are around. In my Got Money Honey platform on my jenrichardson.co website, I've got a course called Super Savvy Woman where I go through a lot of things that you should know to take control of your superannuation. Remember what I said at the start, that you need to take the right mindset that this is what you can do and this is what you need to do for yourself. Educate yourself from, there's plenty of other people, not just me, but if you want to join me in my courses, I would love to help be part of your growth and build your confidence that you need to take control of your future. The other thing that is definitely something that most people think about, go and talk to your boss. If you're working for wages, are you due a pay rise? I mean, inflation's been quite high over the last few years. Talk to your boss. Is there a higher duties that you can do? Can you retrain to get a higher wage? And I know that's not for everyone, and I'm just giving you ideas of how you can do it, because there is no one size fits all when it comes to anything financial, not just looking at your financial future. So empower yourself with knowledge, with skills. Get rid of that negative self-talk that we sometimes come to. Replace the I'm too old with, I'm capable and deserving of this. Celebrate small wins. If you've built your superannuation up more in the last 12 months, celebrate that. Be proud of those efforts. So take control. I guess that's what this whole podcast is all about. Take control, get your financial education, and build your financial future. No matter how small that build is, it's still better than doing nothing. Replace the I'm too old, I'm too late with I've got this. I can do it. It's certainly something, when I first started my business, there was lots of years that I was investing everything that I had back into this business. And I got to that point too that I went, I've got nothing for retirement. It's time to change that thought process I have. And I put lots of things in place to start to build my retirement. As I said, I've got courses on my jenrichardson.co platform. Got Money Honey is a great one for learning how to save, learning how to put debt in order and get rid of it as quickly as we can, how to do a budget, how to set a banking system up. And I've also got challenges in there about trying to save $10,000 a year, which is $833 a month. It is doable. It is achievable. You just need to know how to do it. And I'll share that with you inside my Money Makeover. So my Money Makeover will be relaunching in a few weeks' time. So join our wait list, download any of our templates that we've got on the website, and start taking action on improving your finance. Don't forget to like and subscribe where you're either watching or listening to this podcast so that you get notified when I drop a new podcast. And of course, my personal finance podcasts drop every Thursday. Follow us on socials where we put lots of tools and tips up. And of course, reach out to us anywhere you find me on socials, where you're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast. And of course, on my website, jenrichardson.co. I have tons of free resources there. One of the great things that you can download free is my money dashboard, and you can get where you're spending your money because, as you know, I always say, knowledge is power. So have a lovely week, and I look forward to catching up with you next Thursday. Bye for now. Remember, the advice shared in Dollars and Dreams is general in nature and it does not consider your own personal circumstances. Dollars and Dreams is for educational purposes only and should not be relied upon to make investment or financial decisions. If you need more help, please reach out to a financial advisor for tailored personal advice. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. And please leave me a review. Your feedback really helps me to reach other people chasing their money dreams. You can find me over on Facebook and Instagram to connect with me. You will find the link in the bio or head over to my website at jenrichardson.co where you will find free content and learning tools.